Hello and welcome to Dice and Demons. I'm Emma, and in this video I want to try and recreate the sort of pattern or optic illusion or whatever you want to call it that you can see here on the lower left part of the screen. And I'm going to try to replicate it on this giant orc skull plate thing I have. I mean, it's probably for the, I don't know, it's for a stomper or something. It looks cool and big, but I've never really used it, so now it's just my go-to try stuff out piece of a model. So I have printed out a hexagon on just on my printer and cut it out with my scissors. I tried painting just a hexagon like by hand, and I totally failed. I probably should have paid more attention when I had math in school, but well, I didn't, so I had to print it out. Now it's printed, so I can just put it on here and sort of try as best I can to get it in place and get as many hexagons on this plate here as possible. And as you can see, it's a little bit fiddly, but I mean, this is sort of an experiment. As I said, this is my sort of test orc piece anyway, so it's not something I'm going to be using on a big piece of a model that I'm actually going to be, you know, displaying or anything. This is just for fun, just to see if you can actually recreate this pattern on a model, and if you can, what would it look like. So I also made this very homemade ruler, as you can see, which shows how far you go from one of the sort of sharp angles and into the middle, and that is my way of hoping that I can get those sort of diamond shapes within each hexagon to be roughly the same size. Again, there is probably sort of like an official geometrical math way of doing it that is not as fiddly and not as stupid as this, but I don't know it. So I'll just I just do this. Again, if there are anybody out there who's going like, you could have done this so easily and have been much more accurate, you're very welcome to leave a comment. Well, it's too late for this experiment now, but perhaps you can help other people out. Then I sort of did the frame, or whatever you want to call it, inside each diamond, and as you can see, I had run out of patience with trying to be really accurate. Again, you could probably do this somehow, like measuring it, making sure that they were all exactly the same size, which would definitely help with the final results, because the more I painted this, the more I found out that being neat and accurate actually makes a bit of a difference for this kind of painting. I mean, it's an optical illusion, graphic design pattern sort of thing. It should have been obvious to me, but I was just so impatient to get painting, I guess, that I didn't really stop to think it through. I just sort of tried stuff out. So as you can see on the pattern I'm trying to recreate, it has like 3 gray tone scales, like a dark gray, mid-tone gray, and then white. And I thought that it would probably be best if I tried recreating that. So I actually took some paints that I've never used before, and these are from the Duncan Rhodes paint set. A friend of mine bought it, and he has really kindly let me try it out. And the cool thing about the paint set is that most of the colors are sort of put into a triad, so you have like a darker tone, a mid-tone, and a lighter tone, and I thought that would be quite cool for this project, because I wanted to be sort of the same tones, but still very easy to tell apart. So this one is the lighter one, and it has the excellent name Glistening Gums. Yeah. That's awesome. Glistening Gums. It sounds really bad. And it also sounds like something you might suspect to have some sort of like a special effect, so it would look sort of wet when it dries, but it doesn't. It's just a nice flat color. And then this color I'm painting with here is the mid-tone, and it's called Sword-Hilt Burgundy, which is, I mean, it's a fine name, but it's not nearly as fun as Glistening Gums anyway. I must say that all of the three colors I've tried using so far, they are really nice colors. They go on really smoothly, and they just sort of have a nice feel to them. The third one I'm using here is the darker one, and it's called Royal Cloak. And I mean, I think actually all three of them, they really do a decent job of giving a nice coat in just one go. But it does says on the bottle two thin coats. So and that is true, because it looks way better if you give it a couple of coats. That's for sure. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. But that is also the way they're intended to be used. So that is, I mean, well, completely expected, of course. So then I just sort of tried painting along. I was very tempted to just sort of paint all the lighter tone first, and then the mid tones and so on, just because that would be way more efficient. But I did not trust my own ability to actually keep the sort of individual parts separate in my mind, because it's a bit of a confusing pattern when you look at it. So I decided to, try to be patient, take it a little bit slow, make sure I got at least the initial set of colors right the first time round, because then it would be much easier for me to replicate that afterwards. So yeah, that's what I did. And as you can see, I tried to be relatively neat, but not, I mean, I don't go overboard, because I know that I'm going to be doing at least a couple of more coats, so I can always neaten it up afterwards. And as you can see here, this is what it looks after one layer of coat, and then I'm just slowly trying to build up a nice consistent layer, and also make sure that some of the angles stand out a little bit sharper, and that I sort of get, well, at least some sort of consistency with how thick the frames are around each diamond pattern and so on. And when I got to this stage, I could definitely easily tell that I should have paid more attention when I drew the initial design with the pencil, instead of just going with good enough, because that would have made it look so much better. But anyway, here it is after I sort of finished kneading it up. And then I thought, why not do a black outline? And a black line, that's not included in the initial design, and I wasn't sure if it would make it look better, or if it would just sort of detract from the whole optical illusion sort of thing. But I mean, now I had tried it without the black line, and so I thought I could just, I mean, why not just try the black line and see what it looked like? Again, this is a piece that I am repainting over and over, so this design will also just be reprimed at some point. So it's not something I'm going to be using for anything. This was just a purely just for fun project. I wanted to see what this style of painting would look like on a 3D Mini. My first idea was actually to try and paint it on a shoulder plate for a Space Marine, but then I decided against it, and I'm really happy I did, because I actually think it was a little bit tricky to get it done, even though this is a relatively big piece of a model. So here you can see it without the black line and with the black line. I'm not sure which is best. The photo here is not that great. I had a really hard time getting a nice photo. But I mean, I'm a sucker for black lines, so I probably prefer this. Though I do think if I had been really, really neat when I drew the initial sketch, I would probably have preferred it without, just because it sells the illusion a little bit better, but because I wasn't nearly neat enough or precise enough. I don't think it matters too much with that I did the black line afterwards. I prefer the black line. It just, I don't know, it just makes everything seem like it sort of fits together, and it's all like, it's a way for me of making sure this design is done now. It has a black outline, and now it's done. I can sort of tick a box in my head or something. I don't know. I'm weird that way. But anyways, yeah, this was just an idea I had, and it was really fun to try it out, and it was actually a bit more complicated to get right than I would have guessed. But now I know that, and so that was fun. And I think I'll probably try other sort of graphic designs or optical illusions or whatever in the future, just because it's fun. I don't know if this works really well on a miniature or not. Probably it sort of makes you focus less on the actual design of the model and more draws a lot of attention to the painting style, the paint job, the patterns, which in some cases might be really cool. Like if you're painting a boring rhino or something, I mean, why not? But if you're painting a model that is already complicated or complex in its posing or with a lot of other details, perhaps it's not as cool. But I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely up for trying more stuff out, and also on more complex models. So yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think. If you have any ideas for other patterns or designs or any sort of crazy cool stuff you'd like to see here on the channel, please let me know as well. I'm always up for a challenge. Also, remember, if you like this video, I would much appreciate a subscribe and a like. And as always, you can also follow my painting stuff, my painting crazy ideas over on Instagram as Twitter, where you can find me also as Dice and Demons. So thank you so much for watching this one, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!